Oh, wow. Our conversation from the coffee just is still raining here inside of the studio. I guess we're still going to be talking about that as the day goes on. But let's welcome you for the headlines here. Well, the headlines making the daily's front pages this morning. If you're picking up a daily, would like to intimate you with what you will be finding. I've got in company here. Mary, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Mazino.
Good to have you on. So let's do the papers together, shall we? I'm going to be starting from the Tribune newspaper. So you might want to take a listen. The Tribune has these headlines here. Front and center, Tinubu reshuffles ministers, portfolios as government takes shape. Names Abubakar as Minister of Niger Delta Development, moves Oyetola to Marine and Blue Economy. Tunji Ojo is now Minister of Interior. Saidu Alkali is to take charge of Ministry of Transportation, swears in 45 ministers designate today. At the top for the Daily Tribune, Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft crashes into moon. The race for the moon landing is afoot all over again, and Bawa's remand orders has expired. Release him, Falana tells DSS. Nomination open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize. And at the bottom for the Tribune, more hunger looms as farmers harvest crops prematurely. Inflation bites.
So the last two you mentioned are the ones I'm interested in. Actually, the nominations open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership. And following the trail of the conversation we had, so many people had stuff to say about it.
So that was what I talked about, status and pedigree.
Yes, so a lot of people had something to say about it, with people saying, some, DNA had to be checked and stuff like that.
Just to intimate, you were referring to the conversation from Big Brother involving Sheyi Awolowo and the utterances he made, which we discussed earlier.
But then, of course, more hunger looms as farmers harvest crops prematurely. Inflation bites. This is something I find very, very, very worrisome. If you go to the market today, you can't get the same price you got 2 days ago. It's that bad. Like, there used to be a time when it was every month or every quarter or every year. But now it's a case of every week there's something new price-wise. And it's scary because especially food stuff, you want to buy pepper, you want to buy onions, you want to buy stuff. You don't know what to expect.
Sometimes, to mirror in on the point, do you know why they're actually harvesting prematurely?
Because they're trying to meet up with demand.
No, it's actually not demand. They're trying to actually make, how do I put it? There's no money out there, so I have to sell crop. So whether it's 2 weeks before it's due, I'm just going to harvest anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're trying to meet up with demand so they can quickly make their money.
Exactly.
And that is very dangerous to health.
Yeah.
And that's why you see them doing things they shouldn't do, using ashes that could be, damaging to a human body just to help speed up the
It's a sad situation.
It's worrisome.
I'm sure we're going to visit that in the other papers. You've got which one now?
Okay, so I've got the Daily Sun newspaper, and it says Abuja agog as ministers take oath of office. Ex-Ebonyi governor will do Nigeria proud as works minister, says Akpabio. CSOs, others kick against ex-governors collecting multiple benefits. I saw that coming. We also have here, daily petrol consumption drops to 52 million liters, says federal government. Here we also have Niger Republic, Anglican Archbishop, ex-lawmaker warned against military action. We also have lending $3 billion to CBN connotes Apex Bank's insolvency. And that's coming from experts. Regulator to unveil new lists of BDCs, warns against patronizing IFOs. Here still we have Tinubu redeploys Momo from Youth Ministry to Niger Delta. And, well, so a lot, really. The day is quite busy, the Daily Sun newspapers.
Yeah, it is busy, especially that part about the lending $3 billion to CBN.
Yeah.
Plenty of talk about the reintroduction of BDCs and how that's supposed to help Forex and all. Everybody seems to be quite happy about the fact that you will be able to get your dollars like it was from before. But that doesn't actually help the situation. The fact is, it's only a band-aid. If we're not selling anything as a country, we're still going to come back to this problem where we will have to battle the naira against the dollar, which is very unfortunate. So if this is a short-term, what do you call it, palliative, for lack of a better word, yeah, that's great. But the point is, we need to actually go to the source and solve that issue. What do we sell as a country? Are we still relying on oil? How long will that last? How long will that help the situation? But so much to talk about. Let's move to the Vanguard or the Punch?
Newspaper. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper.
All right, do you want to go?
Okay, sure. The federal government prioritizes economy, security as ministers take oath today. President's 8-point agenda to guide appointees. Ministers complete documentation at SGF office. Tinubu renames Environment Ministry, appoints Niger Delta Minister, reassigns Oyetola others. We have farmers abandon farms, 23 Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi local governments under bandits. NDLEA recovers 4.8 billion naira drugs from wanted billionaires' Lagos warehouse. This was big news over the weekend. Miscreant traders take over multi-million naira Lagos bus stops. Okay, that one though. Up here we have Nigeria loses 249 billion naira in July as oil output drops. All of these stories and more you can catch in the Punch newspaper this morning.
I'm wondering who exactly the miscreants are. Are they the ones in uniforms? Because that's, well, but that's just my personal input. Let's move on now to the Vanguard newspaper, which will be our last paper for today. Niger, ECOWAS rejects Junta's 3-year transition plan. Junta warns against foreign intervention. Talks between ECOWAS, Junta yield little result, officials say. Deep division exists within presidential guard. Note majority of soldiers at presidential complex will flee if ECOWAS attacks. Pope calls for peace in coup hits Niger. So what are the alternatives? Many have said that the sanctions that have been put in place are actually strangling Niger and maybe might be all that is needed. However, there is also plenty of talk about the sovereignty of ECOWAS in general when it comes to the instance of Niger Republic and how matters are going regarding...
It's actually a very sensitive one. Personally, it's one I've been very careful to avoid. Is one I've actually been very careful to avoid. But the one that really caught my attention was the old age poverty to increase as pension coverage stagnates. I find that very worrisome because we're talking about minimum age, minimum wage rather, but nobody's talking about the fact that pension is not being discussed as per being increased as well, because many old people actually depend on that, and it's unfair that you serve the country for so many years and have almost nothing to show for it when you're retired.
And even if you do, when inflation hits, whatever it is you have saved up doesn't account for much at the end of the day. Very sad. But in any case, thank you very much for joining me for the papers this morning.